Hi, I'm Allison Davis, coming to you live from GBTA Broadcast Studio in Toronto. I have with me here today Katie Virtue from Festive Road. Katie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great to have you. So, Katie, you are presenting an education session here later this morning, providing 30 procurement strategies and tips that apply to travel in 30 minutes. Wow.
Yes.
So, can you share a few of those key tips with us now?
Absolutely. So the tips are structured into three areas: strategy, sourcing, and then delivery. So I'll give you a tip from each area. So for strategy, it's talking about the importance of travel collaborating with all the different departments, whether it's HR on traveler satisfaction and experience, with finance on savings and the value of the program, also with marketing on communication of the travel program, but then even with sales and operations, because those are usually where a lot of the travelers themselves come from, and knowing what the strategy is of the sales and operations team ahead of time could definitely affect what your travel strategies are. Within sourcing, procurement has definitely realized that there's diminishing returns if you're using the same old sourcing process over and over year after year. And so, we really talk about how it's time within travel to think about rewiring that RFP approach. And then lastly, a tip for delivery would be around how programs are really, and travel managers are turning from what I would say is tell to sell. So travel managers used to be able to tell the travelers, this is our policy, this is where you go, this is where you should stay. And now they're really having to sell, communicate the travel program the right way, convince the travelers and internal stakeholders why the travel program should be followed, is valuable, is important.
Absolutely. So along those lines, looking at how things are evolving, our theme of the conference here in Toronto is evolve. So what are some key ways that you see managed travel continuing to change in the years ahead?
Sure. So I think there's two main areas: collaboration and then technology. Would be remiss if we didn't touch on technology. But first on collaboration, definitely on the supplier side, across the spectrum of suppliers. I was at a recent conference and there was a lot of talk about how airlines will say, okay, I have the traveler at this point, and then hotel, I have the traveler now, and then ground, I have the traveler, and TMC, I kind of have them throughout, but maybe at booking or after. But they themselves, the suppliers, were saying we need to start collaborating to make that more of a seamless experience for the traveler, to make it meaningful, to be able to showcase that value throughout, to share data and technology and information to really help the traveler have a good experience. So definitely collaboration, and especially even among the buyers and suppliers themselves, and building out relationships. And then on the technology side, with NDC, with AI, with all of the things coming to the forefront, certainly having to evolve in that standpoint. But I think what's having to happen is, with all of these new technologies and capabilities coming out, it's really forcing suppliers to articulate why they're different, their points of differentiation, or else you're going to have new disruptors that are coming in and potentially pushing you out. And with buyers as well, having to articulate internally the value of their program, as I mentioned before.
Absolutely. So looking at buyer-supplier relationships specifically, how can buyers work to build strong relationships with suppliers, and why does this matter overall for travel programs?
Yep. So at Festive Road, we really talk about the 3 C's: culture, capabilities, and then commercials. So really making it first about culture. Is there a fit between us as the buyer and the supplier in terms of our values, the way we go to business, what's meaningful to each other? Can we have a good relationship? Then looking at capabilities. Is this supplier an actually fit for me and my company and for what I need? Do I know what I need to be able to articulate that to the supplier? And then lastly, let's get to those commercials. What's in the PowerPoint? How many locations do you have? It's important information, but sometimes when you start with that, you might not even get to talking about the fit with a relationship. And so we really advocate starting there and looking at that first.
Absolutely. Well, Katie, thank you for being here with us today and sharing your knowledge. Best of luck in your education session coming up. I know it's going to be fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Great.
Once again, I'm Allison Davis, live from GBTA Broadcast Studio in Toronto. Thank you for joining us.